Good morning, friends. This is your old girl, Melanie Rose, here to share your daily aspects. Today is Friday, January 28th, 2022, and you're going to be able to see that I've already marked up this page pretty well because I've already made a recording today. But Mercury retrograde bit me in the butt again. So here we are starting over. No big deal. Sun is in Aquarius today, and Saturn is transiting through Aquarius. I looked a little closer into that, and I found out that Saturn went into Aquarius back in 2020. I almost said 2000. That's funny. And it will be there till 2023. So this is the second of 4 Sun transits that will through Aquarius that will happen while Saturn is in Aquarius. So right now we're really under a strong, visible outer life, especially influence of Saturn, looking at the structures that we rely on and the networks that we rely on and our responsibility to maintain them. And that's, our social and civic lives. That's the structure of our work lives, our friendships and relationships. It's our personal ideals, values, and the things, the ideas that we're dedicated to, the ideas that we lean on, again, to support and validate ourselves in the work that we're doing. So, Sun in Aquarius is giving us an eagle eye view of that, and hopefully what we're getting is an overview of the structures that we lean on for support, those networks we really lean on for support, and hopefully, with an overview, we can see how those things work together and what needs strengthening and reinforcement. The moon is in Sagittarius today, and that brings out an adventurous spirit in the heart and a real frank sort of truth telling. So if you turn within to get some answers today, you might get some really good truth coming right out of your heart. And you might also get some really frank truth coming right out of your heart. Sagittarius is known to be a little bit tactless. So, you might be real honest with yourself today. Let's go ahead and go over the planets really quickly so that we can get into the interpretations. The sun is always at the top of the list, and the sun represents your outer life. This is who you are when you step out the door, who you are in relationship to your work space, your social space, your civic space, and all the people that are there. Following the sun is the moon, and the moon, it represents your inner life. It's more about your relationship with yourself, how you feel about yourself, but also those things you think, feel, know, intuit, and how you are engaged in your home life, including who's there with you and where that happens to be. Mercury is on the page. Mercury represents your personal intellect, especially the thoughts, communications, plans that we make, as well as the running around that we do day to day. And Venus represents your love and money, or how do you personally relate to those people and things that you value the most, that you like, love, and can't get enough of. Saturn is here on the lunar side today and present all over the board today. Again, Saturn is about those structures and networks that we lean on for support. And Neptune is here asking us about our relationship to the human collective. Pluto is a big change maker. Pluto brings us collectively through extremes of experience that in turn transform us. A Chiron is an asteroid, not a planet. Chiron represents the healing capacity, our healing capacity, and what it is that we personally are looking to heal in our lives. And we have some aspect energies here today, and we'll talk about them as we go through the interpretations. On the moon side of the page today, we've divided the page into 2 columns, one for each of our luminaries. On the moon side of the page, we have aspects that are relatively brief, and they they have more of an impact just on our emotions, our feelings, our intuitions. It's more like ambient energy than it is having an impact on how we behave out in the world. So at 2:39 this morning, the moon made a sextile with Saturn. And like I said, Saturn is heavily influential right now, especially in our outer life. Uh, Venus is in Saturn, Mars is in Saturn, Mercury is in Saturn, Saturn is in Aquarius, where the sun is right now. Anything, Pluto is in Saturn. So all of these things are looking back to, again, those structures and networks that we rely on for support and our responsibility to maintain them, at the risk of repeating myself. So, Moon in aspect with Saturn has us noticing and feeling some kind of way about our structures for support. And if it were a more negative or challenging aspect, I would say, that we were feeling restricted or, unable to move freely. But this is a really positive aspect sextile. It's cooperative, it's dynamic, it's going to generate something good. And that's your heart being in a cooperative vibration with those structures you rely on for support. So that's really great. In this mode, we feel really focused and protective of our assets, those those that stuff that supports us that we lean on. And we're also in a mode for attending our assets. So if you see a place in your structural zone, in your supportive zone that needs some reinforcement, some help, some healing, then that's what you're there to attend. And then at 12:59 p.m., almost 1 o'clock this afternoon, a void of course moon goes square with Neptune. Void of course is the last aspect that the moon will make in the sign of Sagittarius before it goes on into Capricorn. So, moon in aspect with Neptune makes us very sensitive, and with a square aspect, I have a feeling that's going to make us easily disappointed. When I say very sensitive, this refers to the human collective. So we're sensitive, we're wide open to the feelings and the thoughts and the energies of the people around us. And, it can be a little bit hard to tell the difference between my energy and the next person's energy, especially if theirs is like really anxious or big in some way. So, with square aspect here, it's likely that we might deceive ourselves, that we might, allow ourselves to believe something that wasn't really evident, or, that somebody else might deceive us either on purpose or unintentionally. So this is a very sensitive time, and we're easily disappointed. So that's a 2-hour aspect. If something happens and you're like, gosh, I can't believe, give it a couple of hours, ask some questions, get the evidence, and find the answer to your question, rather than just assuming that you know based on your very sensitive sense of knowing at that time. And then the sun side of the page, we have Venus and Mercury both in retrograde. And I was called to put them together today. Venus is going direct tomorrow, so it's really kind of stationary in the sky. And so there's a lot of splashing and rippling of the flow around it as it prepares to go direct again. And the Mercury will be going direct in just a few days itself. So that's really great news. We're at the end of this retrograde for Venus and Mercury. They're both personal planets, so this had a lot to do with our personal lives. Um, and we had a lot of work to do and have a lot of conversations with ourselves about the value we're bringing to our relationships, and also the value and the work we're putting into our communications and planning. And we had to give a lot of thought to just how to make those exchanges work better, how to negotiate for ourselves a better functioning relationships and better functioning communication. Soon, very soon, you're going to feel it change. Soon we will enjoy the fruits of our labor because we were dedicated and smart and we made use of our wisdom. Then at 8:57 this evening, the sun makes a sextile with Chiron. And I just want to say at this time is the time to really allow yourself those things you learned while Chiron was in retrograde, um, those things that you healed on the inside, the things that you tried to heal on the inside. Um, whatever healing you got done at that time, this is the time to start, applying it in the outer life. So, let your healed self shine, like show up a little more whole, looking whole and feeling the change in yourself so that other people can see it too. Acknowledge your best qualities. And, that includes like the personal work that you've done and the gains that you've made just in having peace of mind. Uh, that's really great. You've done that work, and you should acknowledge yourself for it, and you should acknowledge the things that are good about yourself, and then you can share those gifts with other people too. You're a gifted, kind, and crafty person, and now is the time to share it with other people. And then this evening at 10:15, Mercury retrograde goes conjunct with Pluto. So again, these are both in Capricorn. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. And we're going to see this, we're going to really be under this influence somewhat until the 12th of February because Mercury is in retrograde, but it's about to go out. So it's going to make a conjunct with Pluto now, and then it's going to move on, and then it's going to come back and make another conjunct with Pluto after it turns around. So right now we're talking about the inner work. Mercury in retrograde asks us to have the conversation with ourselves and to be really concise in our communication and planning. How much does your heart weigh? How much is your shadow weighing on you? How much, grief or just really heavy emotion and intuition are you holding? And this is the time when we really begin to examine our choices in depth, the choices that we have made, the choices that we are making. We've been working on those choices quite a lot. So, we're going to do that introspection. We're going to talk to ourselves about the choices we've made, make some really deep soul level accounting, and ask yourself what you can release. Pluto is an ending and a beginning. It's a death and a rebirth. So some things, they just become too heavy to carry, and we have to put them down and find a new way to move forward. Okay, and then tomorrow, Venus goes direct. Hallelujah. And on Monday, we have a new moon in Aquarius. Saturn is in Aquarius, so more Saturn influence. But in regards to the moon and our clean slate upon which we can build new intentions. And then coming up at the end of the month is on the 31st, we have lunar imbolc, and then on the 2nd of February, we have solar imbolc. So this is the really very beginning of spring. This is the time when we notice that the sun is going to rise a little bit earlier every day and go down a little bit later every day. And it's still mostly night. The days are still shorter, but we'll notice the sun, and we kind of welcome that warmth in as we see leaves begin to sprout and fresh grass begin to come up, and early flowers like crocus and daffodils begin to bloom, and we can see the sap rising and hear the birds just like going nuts out there because they know it's coming, right? So we welcome back the sun's warmth, and with it like the life and abundance that comes with spring and summer. Beautiful holiday. I can't wait to celebrate it next week. Okay, so that's it for today's aspects, and I am in a habit now of throwing a tarot card at the end of my aspects episode. If you've made it this far, will you just go ahead and click the like button, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe, and share this with your mother, your brother, your sister, your friend, whoever you think it might resonate with. Or don't, whatever, it's up to you. Thank you for being here with me. The tarot card on the left will be here today and tomorrow. This is the one that represents the first 1/3 of the sun's transit through Aquarius, the first 10 days or so. And this tarot card is the Five of Swords. And swords are about our mental faculties. They're about our communications, the plans that we make. And this one is this one is sort of a reminder. I always think of this one as a reminder that, um, we all have the faculty from time to time to, we all sometimes feel like a good verbal spar, and we all sometimes also feel like we could win a good verbal spar, but not everybody wants to participate in verbal sparring. And just because you can win, that doesn't mean it's going to benefit you in the long run. So that's been especially important, I think, during Mercury retrograde, but also with Venus in retrograde as well. And we're going to come out of Venus retrograde, and then we're going to change that card up to the Six of Swords and spend 10 days talking about it. The card that I'm drawing for today, though, really I'm focused a lot on Saturn's heavy influence. Saturn is in Aquarius where the sun is, so the sun is literally just shining a light on that Saturn-influenced Aquarius vibe. And Saturn is in, Venus is in Saturn, and Mercury is in Saturn, and they're both retrograde. So, it's been like inner work, and now it's going to be turned into outer work. And Pluto, Pluto is in Capricorn, which is ruled by Saturn, and Mars is too. So that coming up new moon, like the structures, people really identify the foundations, really put an eye on what it is you lean on, whether it is, a mental faculty, an emotional faculty, a person, a place, or a thing. Give it a good eye and ask yourself if there's anything you need to do to shore it up, to make it stronger, anything you can do to make it stronger. Four of Pentacles says, be conservative. And that's not the same thing as stingy, but it's very appropriate card for the heavy Saturn influence, because Saturn is conservative. Saturn does what is tried and true. It relies on tradition and wants to know what works best and to do things that way. And there's nothing wrong with doing that, as long as we don't become so stingy or reserved with ourselves that we're unable to connect with others. And that's it for today, friends. Thank you so much for being with me. My name is Melanie Rose, and I will see you all back here tomorrow for more daily aspects.